All right, welcome back to our series on the 5 common mistakes that everyone makes in real estate accounting. So, mistake number 1, which is probably the biggest mistake when we get into especially short-term rentals when there's risk and people that are going to come slip and fall and injure themselves on your property. So, the big mistake that everyone makes here is not in the legal setup. I think a lot of people have learned, there's some great resources out there on making sure that the legal setup matches the risk and is aware of where the property is and all of that. But the mistake comes in not implementing that legal structure. So usually happens is great, right? Best of intentions, we pay a lawyer, they get everything set up. We got legal entities in Wyoming and Arizona. We got all the stuff that really is best for protecting us, right? So now I have, 20 people in my property and it's a Saturday night and I know what they're doing, but I'm not worried because I know I'm protected, right? So that's step 1. But am I really protected? Probably not if my accounting is not in line with the legal setup. So what we mean is if you have a separate legal structure, do you make sure that it's current on all of its filing for wherever that is? If it's a Wyoming LLC, do we know when that annual filing is due? Do we know what's due depending on ownership? Do we know where it falls in IRS? Does it have to file a separate return? Does it not? Everyone's different. So there's no cookie cutter approach. We can't just go Google this. It's all based on your setup, your situation. But in most cases, we want to have at least a bank account and the name for each LLC. We want to make sure if we've set it up as a holding company that we move the money in line with the holding company. We don't have expenses just sitting on our personal Amex so we can get the points, right? Yep. The points are great, but if it breaks our legal structure, it's probably not great. So these are the basic things. And what we really find is that if our accountants aren't aware of what the legal structure is, there's just a mismatch. And it's not done on purpose. It's just not asking the right questions. So we want to make sure we have a legal structure, we have bank accounts, and the transactions flow that way. So if I have money coming out of Airbnb, then I make sure that the money goes into the right bank account, I record it in the right place, and I'm good. So if you feel like you've ignored your legal setup, that's okay. But let's get it right for 24. Let's make sure the reporting is right. And ideally, we're checking it monthly, right? Because if the mistakes are happening, it's very hard to catch at the end of the year. But by making sure the flow is there, we're not putting stuff on personal stuff. Right. We're not just taking money out when there's extra money, but we're really focusing on making sure we're in line with our legal structure. You're going to be ahead of the game for 2024 and beyond.